Right.
There is a moment in every life when you decide to rise, to stand taller than your fear, to speak louder than your doubt, to chase the vision that sets your soul on fire. This is that moment. And here, we walk it together with stories that awaken, voices that inspire, and truths that set you free. This is Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where hope has a voice, and that voice is yours. And welcome to the show, everybody. Sadly, Rochelle is sick today, but she'll be back on Monday, I do believe. I'm hopeful of that. And we've got a great show for you today, and I'm really looking forward to getting in deeply into the work that this gentleman is doing. His name is Adam Brownlie, and he is, as a matter of fact, I have to ask Adam to begin with. By the way, did I have a good evening tonight? Because in your world, it's tomorrow already because you're in Australia.
Yeah. You're lucky that you still got an extra day to live before you get to where I am right now. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So welcome to the show. It's great to have you here. You have actually, you've got a couple of books out, but one is going to be published in the next couple of weeks, and that is called Happypedia, and it's a guide to happiness, both spiritually and psychologically, and all those things. So welcome to the show. How are you?
Yeah, really good, Kevin. Looking forward to sharing a bit about what I've been writing about for the last 3 years.
It's taken 3 years to put this book together because you had to read something like 500 different articles and papers and stuff to come up to understand the philosophy that you've come up with a little bit better, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, I went into the book to share this philosophy as a way of making happiness easier, but to write a book about happiness, I had to study, what is happiness? How do we, find happiness? And yeah, before I was writing it, I was like, why does it take people 3 years to do a PhD? Like, it doesn't seem like it should take that long to write 50,000 words. But yeah, I definitely found out it takes a long time to write, and then write it again to make sure it's accurate, and then write it again to make sure it's palatable to the reader so they can understand it and pick up what you're putting down.
It really is a process, and hell, the editing process all by itself takes a long time, just to make sure that it's understandable and everything works the way it's supposed to, and is intended the way you intended it to be.
Yeah, exactly. That's a massive challenge for the editor to keep the spirit that I wanted to have in it, while also, ticking all the other boxes that we've got to tick to make it readable. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about Happypedia. How did the idea originate? Where did it come from? And what was your motivation?
Yeah, it goes back a long way. So, well, if we go right back to when I was a child and I would see the fighting on the news, like fighting in the Middle East, fighting wars that have been fought for nearly 2,000 years. And I was like, why? Like, why are they? And I think maybe because I was raised a Christian, I thought, well, I think the solution's forgiveness. So for a long time, I've thought, forgiveness is important and could potentially stop these wars. Then if we go forward a long time, and like after I finished university, a friend and I were walking along the Brisbane River, and he grabbed a stone and threw it, and he's like, our life is just like this stone. Like, it's going to land in a particular place because I applied a particular force to it. And so too with our life. Like, we're going to end up in a certain place because of all these natural factors playing out on our life. And like, I really bought into that. Like, I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Sure.
And then it wasn't till like many years later, like probably 20 years later, I was like, you know what? I think this philosophy could really help a lot of people find more peace in their life. If like, this is a great reason to forgive, not only forgive others, but to forgive yourself for mistakes you've made. And now, you know what, this perspective could stop wars if we can forgive others for, you know, something they've done, and that can take a load off our shoulders, so we can talk reasonably to them and come up with something that we both are happy with. But it can also save a lot of lives just by reducing stress. Like, a lot of people die in wars, but like, so many more people die from stress.
Yep.
Like, stress, the main cause of so many diseases. If we can reduce stress, we can reduce disease by a massive amount, and death. So by writing this book about happiness, I think it could really save a lot of lives if people can adopt these perspectives and beliefs.
Now, have you always been inherently a happy guy?
Yeah, I think so. I've had a pretty lucky life, and that kind of makes it easy. Yeah, stress is a terrible thing. It makes you more prone to stress. As in, like, if you have a stressful childhood, it changes the structure of your brain so that you're more likely to see things to worry about. And the more things you see to worry about, obviously, the more things you have to worry about. And this can be an emotional burden, which then continues this cycle of reinforcing that structure in your brain to see things to worry about. So if you've had a really low stress childhood, it really sets you up for the rest of your life. Yeah, so I had a pretty lucky start, and then I've also had this philosophy for a long time. Writing the book about it's definitely reinforced it, and I think gives me even more acceptance now than I had when I set out to start writing the book 3 years ago.
Now, this philosophy, is this a long time in coming? Has this been something that I read somewhere that you've been thinking about this kind of like for 20 years. And so has it been that long in developing it and to deciding that writing this down and writing the book, Happypedia, would be a good thing to do for humanity?
Yeah, like I said, it was about 20 years ago when I was first introduced to this idea by Jack when we were walking along the river that day. I sort of just adopted it myself. I never thought of sharing it. Something that really highlighted to me the need for reducing stress was when I moved to Brisbane. Like, I used to live in the country, and when I moved to Brisbane, I was like, wow, everybody's got so much they're worried about here. How come I'm not worried about this stuff? Yeah, so that probably highlighted a need for me.
Well, that was not, because I know you grew up on a farm and you worked with your dad and you did all of those things and you were able to be successful and you had enough financial abilities and stuff to do things. So the stress in your world was less because you had, even though there was a period of time when you didn't make a lot of money, but you had a place to live and you had the things that you needed and you were content with that. Is that kind of true?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I think, well, we always want more, and it's really healthy to want more. I think the challenge is balancing out how much you want. Yeah. So yeah, an example, I guess, of finding acceptance of enough is, well, when I was at university, I was on a government pension. Everyone in Australia gets paid by the government to study generally, and that money given to me was enough to pay for my accommodation, my food, my entertainment, and I think it was like $10,000 a year or something like that. And I was like, you know what? I'm pretty comfortable on this. All I've got to do is raise $100,000 and invest that at 10%, and I can retire. And so I was going to be happy with that sort of lifestyle. But by the time I'd raised $100,000, I was then earning, I don't know, $30,000 a year. And so I was like, well, it's a lot more comfortable here now on $30,000 a year. It won't take me long to raise another 200,000. So then I kept on working, and then by the time I'd raised 300,000, then I was probably earning 50. And then I set my goals higher, and this just kept on going and going. So eventually I got to a point where I was like, righto, I think that's enough. And I stopped, I left the farm, and yeah, I was just like, this is enough to live on. So it is, I don't know, it's good to be able to say, look, this is enough. But we always need to want something else. There needs to be something we want. So yeah, it's a balancing act between the two.
Well, and when we talk about stress, sometimes that the act of wanting more and needing more can be very stressful if you don't have a clear, precise plan on how you're going to get more. And so then you start fretting about not having enough. And that does lead to stress, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. You've nailed it. Yeah. If we don't know how we're going to get what we want, then it's hard to have hope. The amount of hope and optimism we have based on like a future outcome is largely to do with how much we want it and how likely we think we're going to get it. So these are two very important perspectives that we can play with to reduce our stress. And so if we're stressed about a future outcome because we don't think we're going to get it, well, we can work out how we can get it and reduce our stress, or we can reduce how much we want it. Like find a new perspective that says, you know, it's not that important to have this thing or outcome that we want.
Yeah, because sometimes, you know, when we are growing up, in a lot of cases, the stress is brought on by society and by family and friends, and you got to do this in school, and you got to get that done, and then you've got to go to college, and then what do you? By the way, it would be nice if I live in the United States, and it would be nice if we paid for college for kids. I think that would be very helpful for them. But we don't, and so they have student loans. And sometimes the student loans that they have in this country can be significant, like $100,000 or $200,000. And that can cause stress all by itself because the job that you may have chosen may not reward you enough to be able to pay those things back. So there's lots of stress, and are you doing enough, and are you getting married on time, and if you're following society's quote unquote rules, it can be a very stressful existence, especially if that's not something that you find appealing to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what's the solution to this, Kevin?
I don't know. That's why we're talking to you. Because, by the way, we're talking with Adam Brownlie, and we need to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the philosophy that he developed to put into the book Happypedia, and how it all works, because it's got a spiritual component to it. It's got a scientific component to it. And we're going to delve into that, because there are some things that you're going to hear today as an audience that may be a little foreign to you, or maybe new, and it's something that you really can think about. Does that make sense, Adam?
Yeah.
So we will be right back in just about let's see, just about a minute and 2 seconds. So stay right where you are. Here's another point to ponder from Positive Talk Radio. What is the easiest thing to justify? It is a small transgression. The one no one will ever see, no one will ever know. The tiny exaggeration on the expense report. The extra minute you took on your lunch break. The packaging you tossed in the wrong recycle bin because it was closer. In those moments, the question isn't, will I get caught? The question is, will I know? It isn't about avoiding punishment. It's a silent agreement you make with yourself when you choose to do the right thing, to return the wallet, to fix the mistake, to respect the empty space. You aren't impressing the world. You're earning your own respect. That small choice, made entirely in private, is how you build a life you never have to look away from. The only audience that matters is you. And welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin McDonald. Adam Brownlie is our guest, and he is an author. He's got a couple of books out, but we're focusing on the one that's coming out in a couple of weeks, because it is Happypedia, and I love the name. How did you come up with the name, by the way?
Well, I've given it to a lot of people to read, so beta readers, people I know, and the feedback I got was it reads like an encyclopedia. It's not really what I was going for, but I've decided to own that, and that inspired the name. I was like, well, let's be upfront with what people are getting themselves in for if they buy this book. So yeah, Happypedia. It's an encyclopedia about happiness, or a guide to happiness. Yeah.
And we're also going to talk a little bit later, because on your website, there is a happiness quiz that you can take to determine where you are in the happiness spectrum, if you will. But we'll get into that in a little bit. I wanted to talk to you first about the philosophy that the book is about. Could you kind of give us a thumbnail sketch of what it's all about?
Yeah, so we start off by looking at what is happiness. We need to define it first, and then we talk about the 6 pillars of happiness: eating well, sleeping well, socializing well, exercising well, finding novelty, and hope. Now, hope is probably the challenging one, and probably the most important one. And so then I go into and hope is all about perspective, right?
Yeah.
If we judge something as bad, if we think it's bad that we've got this upcoming event, or it's going to feel bad. So a big, a big influence on our perspective is our foundational beliefs. So this is how we explain the unexplained. So this is how we explain why we are here and what causes things to happen as they do. These are things that we don't necessarily have answers to, but the answers we adopt can be a great source of acceptance when we've got bad outcomes, when we're stressed, when something could go wrong or something has gone wrong. If we can lean on these foundational beliefs, it can be a great source of peace. And so I talk about traditional foundational beliefs, those ones drawn from religion, and then I put forward you could say a new one that's more secular, that's more science-based for those people who aren't currently part of some religion. And so the foundational cause that I put forward, or I recommend, is that everything is caused by the laws of nature. And so if everything is caused by the laws of nature, then everything is unavoidable. And so when you make... Still there, Kevin? Yeah.
Yep. And you cut out there for a second. Are you back?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's just flicking on and off. But yeah, if we can see that everything is unavoidable, then when we've made a mistake, we're like, well, that's not my fault. That was always going to happen. Or if someone else does something that hurts us, we can be like, well, that's not their fault. Something made them do that. So we can't really blame them for it. And when we have that perspective, we can remove that resentment from that person, and we can remove regret from our mistakes. So that's a big philosophical shift, which I would like to promote, to help people find more acceptance, more forgiveness of themselves and others.
Isn't now, perspective is a big deal, because if you have a perspective that everybody's out to get you, then guess what? Everybody's out to get you. But if you have the perspective that the things that happen they just happen, and that there's no, that your perspective is that you can recover from it and you can move forward with it, and that you're going to forgive the people who may have been to blame for or the perception that you're blaming them, because there's no point in blaming anybody for what happened in the past, because, by the way, it's in the past. There's not a thing you could do about it, but you can do something about how you're presenting yourself going forward. Is that kind of close to to what we're talking about here?
Yeah, definitely. If we can lift that emotional burden, because so often we can't move forward because we're so tied to the past.
Yeah,
we're still carrying all this emotional burden because of our judgments of what's happened. Whereas if we can release that emotional burden, then we're more likely to think, okay, what can I do now to get what I want? What can I do now to stop that from happening again?
Yeah.
But first, we need to forgive. We need to let go of what happened, learn from it, but not be emotionally burdened by it.
Yeah, and I also want to ask you, because a lot of times, because we listen to the stories of our life that other people have told us about who we are, or we're not tall enough, we're not smart enough, we're not good looking enough, we don't have enough hair. By the way, you have a lot of great hair there, and stuff. So, but if we don't believe those stories anymore, and we believe that we can do and be and have anything that we want over time, does that change your perspective and give you hope so that then you can live a happier life?
Yeah, if you believed you could have whatever you want, you'd have mountains of hope.
Yeah.
The truth is, though, we can't just believe whatever we want to believe. Like, we're going to believe what our past experiences are dictating to us to believe.
Yes.
If we believe we're hopeless and we can't get this thing that we want because we're just not built for it, we're not going to have that belief that we can get it. And so in that instance, we need to be like, well, what would give me that belief? What experiences would give me that belief that I can get this thing that I want? And if we can have those experiences that change our beliefs, then that will change our judgments.
Yeah. And that isn't that what we're all looking for, really, and that you know, we talked about in the very beginning, we talked about people hating each other and wars and stuff, and it's basically foundational. It's because we believe that there's another, that there's somebody who is out to get us or believes something differently than we do. If we can eliminate that, won't we live a happier, more meaningful life that we can then include other people in that philosophy? Is that kind of where you're going with this? And I'm not sure.
Yeah. So. Maybe hit me with that again. Sorry.
I can't. That was a long time ago. I can't remember everything. Anyway, but your philosophy is foundational, because there are some people that would say we have free will, and so that can change everything, but it really can't unless, well, and I don't know. How does free will, I'll ask you, you're the expert, you wrote the book. How does free will come into it, or does it not come into it, because at the end of the day, there really isn't free will because things happen?
Yeah, so free will is a very popular belief. So it's also a spiritual, like a supernatural belief. It's interesting for people to hear when they first hear that, to, you know, because it's so widely. So we have, I say, two classes of supernatural beliefs. We have the local ones, you know, how, you know, in certain countries they believe in certain religions, and then in another country they have different religions. They have some believe in luck, some believe in karma, some believe in other forms of fortune. And so since they're so localized, when we look at someone else's beliefs, we're like, well, that's obviously a supernatural belief because that's obviously made up. But then when we talk about free will, it's so widely adopted right across the world that everybody's like, well, everybody believes in this, it must be true. So then what is a supernatural belief? So a supernatural belief is something when we believe it's the first cause of something, as in nothing else has more power than it. For example, so if we go to God, like if God decides it's going to rain today, or if God decides you're going to meet a particular woman and marry her, nothing's making him do that. He can make it rain tomorrow. He can make it rain in the morning or in the afternoon. If he's causing an event, he's free to cause whatever event he wants because he's the first cause. Now, the same thing with luck or karma. Let's go with karma. So say you did something wrong. Say you cheated on an exam. And now karma has the ability to get back at you, right? It can cause some bad outcome. It can cause whatever bad outcome it wants. It could just cause you to trip if it wants. Or it could cause you to miss the bus. Like, it's up to karma to cause whatever bad outcome it wants. So it's free. It's the first cause of these future. So a supernatural belief is something that we believe is the first cause of things. It's the most powerful thing. Now, randomness is also a first cause. So randomness, if we're talking about the particles, micro, very small particles, they apparently move randomly. They don't move according to any laws or anything. So this randomness is theoretically the first cause of these subatomic particles path through life. And then we've got free will. So free will, again, is theoretically the first cause, as in nothing controls it. We're free to walk to the right or walk to the left. We're free to buy a soft drink or a juice. So again, this is a supernatural force. Nothing has more power than it. It's more powerful than, say, God or the laws of nature or karma. It's free. So it definitely fits into this class of supernatural. Yeah, so then...
So now, like, if you let's look at karma real quick, because there's you can have karma based upon a negative experience or a negative action that you took. You can also have karma that's based on a positive action. And good karma is out there as well, perhaps. Now, in the book that you've written, you do talk about spirituality. Is there a certain mystical aspect to that, or is it more grounded, based upon your work and the writing that you're doing?
So I talk about the value that our foundational beliefs have in giving us peace and acceptance in our life. So there's so many different interpretations to Christianity, but let's just say that we believe that God is the most powerful force, and nothing happens without his doing. Nothing. Everything happens according to his plan, right? Now, if we believe that, then we make a mistake. We're not going to regret that. We're not going to dwell on that. We're going to be like, you know what? That's terrible that I made that mistake. I'm going to definitely try not to make that mistake again. But there's no way I could have avoided it. It's God's plan. Like, God's wanted me to do that. He needed me to do that. He made me do that. There's nothing I could have done about it. You know, can you see how you can find some acceptance if you've got that belief?
Oh, absolutely. And from my perspective, if you have that belief, my mother had that belief, that she believed that God was in charge of everything. So therefore, it alleviated her from the responsibility of living her life to the best that she could, because, well, as God's plan. And that, as she used to say that all the time. But the reality is that, as an example, when you were talking about raining and nature, God set it up, but I don't think he controls that it's going to rain today or tonight or tomorrow. It's all about nature and how it all evolves and all works together. Do you agree with that?
Well, everybody's got their own foundational beliefs. So that's your foundational belief. And everyone's got some mixture of this. Like, generally people are like, you know what, my free will controls these things. God controls these things. Nature controls these things. From a rational perspective, that doesn't make sense. They can't, like, all control different things. Like, one thing needs to be in control. Like, it's so hard to say, where's the boundary? Where does God stop controlling things and nature start? And where does my free will start and stop? Those
are major questions to ponder. And I need to take a break here on Enva. I've already blown past it, but we're talking with Adam Brownlie, and he's written a really interesting book. I'm having a great conversation with him, and it's going to continue right after this, because the Brushwood Media Network needs me to do this real quick. So we'll be right back. Stay with us.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
Are you looking for your daily dose of inspiration? Stay connected to all your favorite shows, music, and news with the Brushwood Media Network app. From Positive Talk Radio to Greatest Vibes Unplugged and so many more uplifting voices around the world, everything you need is right in one place. It's easy to use, too. Always available and designed to keep you inspired 24 hours a day. Go to brushwoodmedianetwork.com and download the app, and you will always have Brushwood Media available on your smartphone. Download it now and make inspiration and music and conversation part of your everyday. And welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin McDonald, and you know, Adam Burchell is actually here in spirit. She's not feeling well, but she does have something. So Adam Brownlie is our guest today, and we are talking about the book Happypedia, The Guide to Happiness, and with a modern philosophy. And go that book is due out. It's going to be out in the next week, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. Would that be correct, sir?
Yeah. Before Christmas, that's the goal. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. And Rochelle would like to know, hello, Adam, or hello, Kevin and Adam. Sick behind the scenes, but love listening to this conversation. I have to ask Adam, how does our energy and frequency tie into our present and future outcomes? If that makes sense to you.
Wow. That sounds like a very spiritual based question. Our energies and frequencies. I'm a very science based person, like almost extremes. So if I was going to say our energies and frequencies, well, our energy moves stuff, right? If I want a drink of water, my energy that my body creates is going to lift that cup to my mouth and quench my thirst. Frequencies aren't frequencies. What frequencies come from a body? We're emitting.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough question.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've really done that question any justice, but
she's known for tough questions. She's a very inquisitive sort, and I think what she's trying to get at is that our energy, because you're scientifically based, and they've proven, haven't they, or am I in error in this, that all of us have energy, all of us have frequency, and we kind of emit those things. And is that possible? Is that true?
Well, I'm sure we emit energy and frequencies like haha and thank you. I'm open to any view you have. Yeah, I'm sure we do emit these things, but generally these things don't have a great influence on our environment. So we're not probably with our ability to see and hear, and we're probably not going to recognize the impact these things are having. So something we might notice is the effect we have on those people around us.
Yeah.
As in, like, our senses, what we see is very, sensitive to the emotions of people around us. So we could say that their energy, like if they move in a certain way and show a certain behavior, our body just picks that up and interprets that, and it can make us feel a certain way because we feel like they feel a certain way. If they treat us with respect and kindness, and it'll make us feel happy. So when we feel like someone respects us, we feel like it just releases hormones in us. It releases oxytocin and makes us feel really good. So I don't think it's some invisible thing. It's something we don't really do consciously. Like, we don't consciously make judgments. Well, we do consciously make judgments sometimes, but often these effects will happen without us making a conscious judgment. Like we'll just see someone doing something or treating us a particular way, and we just feel all warm and fuzzy inside, just because our brain has made a decision that they respect us or they are similar to us, and it's released this dopamine, and now we feel glowing. Yeah,
I like dopamine. It's one of my favorite drugs that the body produces naturally, and stuff. So, but I get what Brachel's point was, but from the scientific basis, there's so many things, and you're a scientific guy, and I've always wanted to ask, science has not been able to prove a lot of things that are of a spiritual nature. As an example, the existence of the soul, the existence of the afterlife, any of those things that involve or reincarnation, or any of the spiritual scientific or spiritual non-scientific things. So, but a lot of people rely on those things to achieve to achieve hope and stuff, for their continuation of who they are and that kind of thing. But so is what you're saying is that is not necessarily something that we should hang our hat on, as it were, and we should be more scientifically based?
Well, I'm saying that we can choose our foundational beliefs, and why not choose ones that give us peace and acceptance? It's really hard to change your beliefs. So if you're raised your whole life believing in one particular religion, it's hard to change. So I decided when I was probably, 12 or something, that, I don't think that Jesus is real. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't align with what I'm taught in the science classroom. Yet I would still pray to God for years and years after that. Whenever I wanted something, I'd be like, God, can you help me? Can you help me? So like these beliefs were so ingrained into me that they're not something you can change overnight. But we can, since they're not proven by science, there's no saying that this religion's true and this one's not. Like, they've all got just as much merit as each other. They're not provable. The beauty I see in free will is that it is something we can disprove. As in, it's not something that it's just something we can disprove. Like, we can disprove that it exists. And so we can use that to help us give up that belief in that supernatural belief. And the way we can...
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, no,
I
I
was
was
going to
just
say,
the
way
ahead.
we can disprove that is by spending a little bit of time each day noticing that our decisions just appear unpredictably. As in, we don't know what our next decision is going to be. And so it can't be, we don't choose it. It just appears. And then as soon as that one appears, quite often another one will appear, or another thought will appear. And they just continue to unfold unavoidably. As in, how can we avoid something that we didn't even know was coming? So, yeah, right now I don't know what my next decision is going to be, and it'll just appear, and then that's it.
Can you change your mind once you make a decision? Then can you change your mind based upon new facts that you have that have come into your understanding?
Yeah. This is a great question, great follow-up question. So it's so easy. If I'm just walking along And then I have this decision, hey, I've got to ring my mate, Andy. That's so obvious that was unpredictable. Like, I had no plans to have that decision until it just appeared. But what about when I'm like in the grocery store and choosing between whether I should buy an apple or an orange? It really feels free. It feels like, I could choose either one. I definitely have this ability to choose freely. But the way we can overcome this illusion is by noticing each decision appearing without our warning. As in, like, I might walk into the shop and I initially see the apples and I'm like, I'm going to buy an apple. So that appeared out of the blue without warning. But then the next decision or the next thought appears, maybe I should buy an orange. Now, at that point, I've considered buying an orange. I have no idea what my next decision is going to be. It could be to buy an orange. It could be to buy an apple. It could be to ring my mate, Andy. I don't know. And say the next decision appears, right, yeah, I'm going to buy an orange because I bought an apple yesterday. Now I still don't know what my next decision is going to be. It could be like, you know what? I had one yesterday, but I'm going to have another apple again today. So now I've changed my mind back to the apple. But once I've chosen that orange, I just don't know whether it's going to be the apple or to walk to the counter and take this orange. I really don't know. So that's how we can experience changing our mind as being an unavoidable process.
Or the apples, you go into expecting to buy an apple and maybe an orange, but mostly an apple. But then you look at the apples and they just don't look right to you. And so then that makes a decision for you then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because now it's going to be the orange because the apples don't look very good. Or whatever the new information that you've acquired. And
quite often in hindsight, we can kind of see why we might have made a decision. Like in hindsight, once we've decided to get the orange because the apple looked kind of a little bit old and stale, we can be like, well, that's why I made that decision. But in reality, we really don't know why we made that decision. Sure. So scientists do all these tests on, how they can influence people's behavior. And sometimes just by giving someone a cup to hold, the scientists can influence the next decision that person makes. So what was influencing our decision to buy the orange was the state of the apple, how tasty it looked. But it could have also been like the temperature at the time, like because it was slightly warmer, or it could have been the sign we saw walking to the shop may have influenced our decision once we reached that fruit stand. All these things would have been playing a part in what decision we ended up making.
Well, on a scientific basis, speaking of grocery stores, on a scientific basis, I know that you know this, that there is a complete philosophy of how a grocer sets up the grocery store based upon perceived human behaviors that they have proven scientifically. As an example, they put the product that they want you to buy at eye level, because that's what you're going to see first, and that's scientifically proven. So they can eliminate some of the chance by how they set that stuff up based upon their research of human behavior. Because that's human behavior plays a big part in this, doesn't it?
Yeah. We're all very similar in so many ways. Like our brains all work very similarly. And so I've got in the habit now of going to the supermarket and looking down the bottom of the shelf, because I know that's where the cheaper product is. That's the one I like to buy, and that's where they've hidden it.
Yep. And the grocery store people are now upset with us because that is kind of a secret that they've been saving for themselves. That's the same thing like when you go to the checkout counter and there is a rack of stuff, and it's not stuff that's good for you or vitamins and stuff. It's candy and it's chips and it's your impulse buy and that's what they're counting on to get you to, while you're standing there in the checkout line, they get you to buy, M&Ms or something like that.
Yeah. No, this is an important point to remember next time we want someone to behave in a certain way. Like, we all are human and we all have general rules our body and our brain follows. And so if someone is doing something that you really don't appreciate, you can forgive them first, because you know that, it's not their fault. Their life has caused them to be this person that they are. But then you can be like, hey, what would cause them to be this person that I want them to be? How could I cause them to be kinder or more generous or more compassion? What would change their behavior? And if you're smart enough or creative enough, you could potentially come up with this plan to bring about this positive outcome that you want.
Now, is part of that having to do with your behavior? So, and as an example, what I mean by that is, if somebody does something that is bad to you, and your behavior dictates that you're not mad back, and that you're willing to forgive them because of their short-sighted ability to make the right decision, and then will that influence them to perhaps in the future make a better decision because they recognize that you were forgiving them? Does that make sense? I have no idea.
Well, that might work. Like I've said, I just said how we're all so similar, but we're all so complex. Hey, it's hard to know what's going to affect one person, because that strategy that you just said, that might work for one person. Like, quite often people just want to bite, hey? And if you're just forgiving them and you're not biting back, they're like, well, this isn't much fun. I'll find someone else who does bite back. And so then in that case, your strategy is probably working, because that's what's driving their behavior. But another instance, their negative behavior might be driven by something else. Maybe it's jealousy or something. So you've got to identify what is driving their behavior, what's causing them to be this person that they are. And then if you can identify what's causing that, then you can often identify what you can do to cause the behavior that you want.
It's a very complex thing, because as an example, I never could get my ex-wife to exhibit the behavior that I was looking for, and I tried all kinds of stuff, but we didn't communicate at the right level that we could come to an agreement about things like that, and so communication was a problem for us as well. So that's part of it as well too, isn't it? It's because we're pretty complex, and we each are now let me ask you if this is true. We are each a product of our experiences from the past, which leads us to what we are thinking we're going to experience in the future. Is that true?
Oh, 100%. Everything is caused by the past. We're born with a certain genetic makeup. And from the moment we're conceived, all the environmental factors are influencing how our body grows and shapes and forms. Everything that we see, hear, and taste is affecting our beliefs and our brain structure. And then whatever that very precise makeup we have, that brain structure, chemical makeup, and beliefs that we have in that instance, when that environment is having a certain influence on us, determines what our next judgment is, what our next thought is. So everything is led up to what our next judgment is. And if that judgment's good, it'll trigger dopamine. If it's bad, it's going to trigger cortisol. We're 100% a victim of our past, you could say.
Yeah.
But we can still have hope. We can have hope of causing a better judgment in the future.
So we can, because each of us has stories that we tell ourselves based upon the experiences that we had growing up, or with a significant other or whatever. And these are stories that we've told ourselves that we thoroughly believe because they're our stories. But can you change those stories to come to a different outcome, and to develop more hope within those by changing the story of what you believed, that you now are giving up that belief?
Yeah, so it's really hard. I think we talked about this briefly before. It's really hard to change our beliefs. But if we want to change them, we need experiences. We need experiences that support our new belief. So could you give me an example of like a belief that someone might want to change?
Well, if as an example, well, I'll give you one. When I was 6 years old, I went to a friend's house, and there was another friend there, and my friend had to leave, and I was going to stay and play with this other kid, and we were both 6 years old, and then I said, "What do you want to do?" And he said, "You get lost." And I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Get lost. I don't want to play with you." And so for a long time, I created a story around that I wasn't good enough to play with. Until I had enough experiences with other people that thought I was fun to be around, that I could then change that story and call him what he was, which was being a jerk.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. So you would have maintained those beliefs that you're not good to play with until you had experiences that changed your perspective. And so
20
let's
years.
say,
Yeah.
How many years, sorry?
20 years I had that feeling.
And so if you wanted to change that earlier, like this is some pretty big, something pretty big to ask of a 6-year-old, but if you wanted to make that change earlier, you've got to be like, what experiences are going to give me the belief that I am good to play with? And obviously that's finding people who enjoy playing with you, right?
Right.
And so it's about finding people who are like you, because people who are like you generally appreciate you. And so if you can put yourself in an environment where people are similar to you, they're going to like you and they're going to respect you and treat you well. And then you're going to experience that respect. And then you're going to be like, hey, you know what? These people, they like me, they respect me. And your confidence would blossom, you could say. So if we want to change our beliefs, we've got to identify what experiences are going to cause us to have the belief that we want. And then go have those experiences. It's challenges. It's not easy. Like, coming up with that, it's not easy.
No, life is not easy. It's a challenge. Just to get up and go to the bathroom could be a challenge when you get older, anyway. But Adam, we've run out of time, unfortunately, but I would like to give you a couple of moments, because the book is coming out hopefully before Christmas. Are they going to be able to get it at Amazon and all kinds of places? And your website is, give us your website real quick.
AdamBrownlie.com.au. So Brown, L-I-E. It's going to be on Amazon. That's pretty much the only place it's going to be. So it should be the hardcover, softcover, Kindle version will be all there. And hopefully in another month or 2 months, we'll have the Audible copy as well.
Are you having that done for you? The
Audible? Probably going to get the AI to do it, I think. I got an actor to read my last version, and that took months to do. Maybe getting AI might do just as good a job, I think, and potentially have it in weeks. So,
or days. AI is incredible with some of that. It's just something. So, and again, Adam Brownlie has been our guest. Go to his website, adambrownlie.com/AU, right?
.com.au. Yep. AU for Australia.
Yes, .com.au. And I want to thank you so much for being here. You're going to have to come back because I haven't got my head wrapped around this entirely yet, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll try and be more concise next time. It's a tricky. It's complete flip to what most people believe. So yeah, it's not easy to understand. It leads to a lot of questions like, can I still have a sense of control if I'm not free? How can I still have hope if I'm going to end up in the same place? Like I'm destined to finish my life, and how can I have hope of it? It raises a lot of questions. So yeah, happy to talk more about these challenges with adopting this new foundational belief.
Exactly. Again, the name of the book is Happypedia. I love the name, by the way. And that book is going to, I sense, Adam, that this book is going to be talked about by people who read it, and it's going to create conversation, which is always a really good thing when you're putting out there something for people to think about.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. I hope so. I hope it saves some lives too.
That would be good. And happiness is a human right, I think. And I wish everybody was happy and could forgive each other and recognize that there is no other. There's just us.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So again, Adam, thank you. And any last words before we go, sir?
No, that's it. I hope everyone can spend a little bit of time today just recognizing their decisions appearing unpredictably, and that might give them a little bit more acceptance of their mistakes, that they're not to blame for it because they didn't choose to have the decisions that they had. And yeah, hopefully a little bit more compassion to other people because, something made that person do what they did. And if you know that something caused them, then you can be more inclined to look at what caused that and have a little bit of compassion to what's causing this person to do what they're doing.
Yeah, and recognize that I don't know if you know this, but as far as I know, there's only been one perfect person that walked the face of the earth, and we all make mistakes, and to let that go. So, Adam, thank you so much for being here, Adam Brownlie, and you are an awesome dude, man. Congratulations on the book, and I can't wait for it to come out.
Thanks, Kevin.
Have a great day, and take care, everybody. I hope this made you think. It made me think. I'm still thinking, and will be for a while. So, Adam, thank you. Have a great night. Thank you for being part of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where stories inspire and voices remind us of what truly matters. May today's conversation give you hope, courage, and a reason to keep moving forward. And just remember, till next time, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got.